A warm hello to you again. Thank you for watching this video. I am Miss Shirley. Thank you so much for watching. Also subscribe, and thank you for all that are subscribing, all that are watching. Remember to like the video, remember to turn on the notification bell. Now, our book here, this is a book that students are doing right now in Kenya. As you can see that it is approved by the KICD. Now, you see sometimes as a student you'll be asked to maybe write an essay about this book. Sometimes they'll tell you, they'll bring about a theme, they tell you to describe and so on, or they might tell you to describe the styles. Now, I wanted to look at the styles approached by the author, Paul B. Vita, and the Fathers of Nations. Now, when you take a close read of the book, you'll find that irony is one of the stylistic devices that have been used in the book. Now, from the beginning of the book, you want to look at the title, Fathers of Nations. First of all, it is ironical for the book's title to be Fathers of Nations. You see, a father is someone who actually has direction. A father is someone whom we expect not to be ignorant. When you compare the two to the African presidents are ignorant, lack direction, and don't know what they're doing. You see, a father is someone who fully knows what their role in the family is. But in this case, the Fathers of Nations, the African presidents, they lack direction, they are ignorant, and they don't know what their actual role is. They are misleading their African citizens in the name of selfishness, corruption, and impunity. According to the book, I want you to look at the state of Gambia when the African states come for the summit. The people are in poverty. They're literally trying to get something to their mouth. Their living conditions are poor, and we expect the father to look at that, but he turns his head the other way. Yeah, he literally brings down the little shops that the citizens use to get their daily bread. So in that case, it is ironical for the book's title to be A Father of Nation. Now, another incident of irony is the life of Professor Kimani. You see, he is a professor who earns much less as compared to a politician. You see, it is ironical for it to happen that way, as we expect a professor being a learned person to earn more as compared to a politician who is less learned. So that part was a bit ironical. Another part on Professor Kimani's life is his wife, Asia Omondi. You see, Asia Omondi goes on to leave Professor Kimani for the politician Newborn Walomu, who had 3 wives. Yeah. See, Professor Kimani earns less, Newborn earns more. So Asia just goes on to leave him because he earns more. Now, it was ironical because you can't leave someone who is learned and go to someone who is ignorant and less learned. So that part was also ironical. Now, their daughter Tony, before dying, you see, Professor Kimani's daughter Tony died. But before she died, she was going through something like self-protection classes, yeah, self-defense classes. Now, it is a bit ironical since this is a child of a professor, and being a little girl, she doesn't have to protect herself. What is the work of the government? The work of the government is to protect the citizens, sorry. But the citizens are going on to take self-defense classes to take care of themselves. So that part was a bit ironical. Next, we have irony in the life of Pastor Chineke Chiamaka, in that he is a pastor, but during a sermon brings about a political issue, reads a political article. That was a bit ironical since we expect him to actually do the preaching work as he always done. He goes on to bring about a political issue, a political article, which led to his arrest. But apart from that, it is also ironical that Pastor Chineke Chiamaka is actually arrested for criticizing the government. You see, you criticize the government, you expect them to be motivated to work harder. You tell the government this is wrong, they end up arresting you. See, in that case, it was a bit of an irony since we don't really expect that to happen. Okay, it's also ironical in the life of Dr. Abiola Folabi not to choose to have children. You see, this is an African person. You are expected to actually have children. Children is a pride. Children are the heir of your throne according to the African cultures. Since this is an African man, don't expect him to follow the ways of the Western people. So that part was also ironical. Now, it was also ironical that his wife chooses to leave him because the family simply wanted a kid. He should, if she chose to marry Dr. Abiola Falabi, she should have been ready for whatever will come to happen. This is an African person. Should be ready for the storms that will come, such as that. So that part is also ironical. Next, when you look at the life of Comrade Melusi, it was ironical that look at the life of these four men. There was a lot of irony used. The life of Professor Kimani, Comrade Melusi, Engineer Sehere, and Pastor Chineke Chiamaka. And also when you closely look at the life of Dr. Abiola Folabi. Now, when you come back to the life of Engineer Sehere, you'll find out that there was a time he pursued a lady. Sehere, there's a time he actually pursued a lady called Rahma Mahmood. Now, Rahma Mahmood said no, but didn't really mean no. But Engineer Sehere misinterpreted the message. Now, it was ironical for Engineer Sehere to slap Rahma later with the intention of getting back to her as a revenge technique. So there was a bit of an irony. Now, you see with the story of Engineer Sehere, he later, when he slaps Rahma Mahmood, Rahma uses a pen to actually stab his eye. So Engineer Sehere loses an eye. Later on, you find that he goes on to take Rahma to court because he lost an eye. Now, it is later, the judge later gives a verdict that Rahma loses an eye too because he led to the loss of Engineer Tahir's loss of an eye. Now, there was a bit of an irony there because first it is Engineer Tahir who attacked Rahma, and as a self-defense, maybe we should blame it on reflexes. She was trying to defend herself. So it was therefore ironical for Engineer Tahir to take Rahma to court. Now, we can still go on to, we cannot go on to the summit. The summit took part in Banjul, Gambia. But you see, the president of Gambia was the one who was supposed to chair the meeting, the summit. But in this case, he refused to chair the summit in the name of not wanting to annoy other African leaders. Now, that was a bit ironical because since this was taking part in his country, he was supposed to chair the summit. There's a bit of an irony there. You are the president, you're supposed to duly take on your duties. Now, it was ironical that during the summit, the African presidents actually had no ideas to present. They were just there holding chats with one another, and these are actually presidents. So there was a bit of an irony there when African presidents were not able to give ideas during the summit. Now that leads us to the point of reading the agenda. You'll find that almost all of these presidents did not read the agenda. That is also a bit of an irony. Now, Dr. Abiola Falabi was the chair of the summit, and you see in this case, he wrote the book Failure of States. Now, he believed that the states are failing, so it was therefore a bit ironical that he was chosen to be the chair of the summit. Okay, now, when you look at the summit, African leaders are actually fighting each other like little kids. We expect African presidents to be united, but in this case, they are not, and that was also a bit of ironical actually. African presidents fighting each other. We also had one who took out a pistol wanting to shoot the other, so there was a bit of an irony there. Now, you see, during the summit, we expect the African leaders to concentrate, but they were mumbling there, throwing each other papers and so on. That is also ironical. Now, when you look at later on in the summit, they had to choose a committee to pick between Path Alpha and Way Omega to pick a development strategy that they will approve. In that case, they pick a committee of leaders, will go on discuss the agendas before they choose. Now, when they choose the committee, we have President Bangura. President Bangura said he did not read the previous strategy, Way Omega, and now a new strategy has been presented, Path Alpha. He says he did not read the previous one, and he is not going to read the second one. And he still was chosen to be the chair of the method committee. Now, that was a bit ironical. Next, you want to look at how did Path Alpha get into the agenda of the summit? They used the trick to get the agenda into the summit. Now, this is a summit that involves African presidents. The agenda should be, the meeting should stick to the agenda, but in this case, they had to include something else that was not supposed to be there, was included. That was also a point on irony. It was actually ironical. Okay, now, let's go back to the method committee. They go on to use the choice matrix to choose a development strategy. And you see, President Bangura said they use about half an hour. You see, that was a bit ironical because you have two development strategy. You'll use more than half an hour. You first need to read the first one, internalize, discuss, look at the its advantages and disadvantages, then go to the second one, do all that. We literally take half an hour. That is also ironical. So we can say that the method committee using less time to be able to choose a method that will choose a strategy was also ironical. Now, President Bangura goes on to use choice matrix. Yeah, that is also ironical. The matter of heads or tails, flip a coin. Heads, this strategy, tails, this strategy.